Estimates of the casualties from the conflict in Iraq since 2003 have come in many forms, and the accuracy of the information available on different types of Iraq War casualties varies greatly. Various scientific surveys of Iraqi deaths resulting from the first 4 years of the Iraq War estimated that between 151,000 to over 1 million Iraqis died as a result of conflicts during this time. A later study, published in 2011, estimated that approximately 500,000 Iraqis had died as a result of the conflict since the invasion. Counts of deaths reported in newspapers collated by projects like the Iraq Body Count Project found 174,000 Iraqis reported killed between 2003 and 2013, with between 112,000 and 123,000 of those killed being civilian non-combatants. For troops in the US-led multinational coalition, the death toll is carefully tracked and updated daily, and the names and photographs of those killed in action as well as in accidents have been published widely. A total of 4,491 U.S. service members were killed in Iraq between 2003 and 2014. Regarding the Iraqis, however, information on both military and civilian casualties is both less precise and less consistent. Estimates of casualty levels are available from reporters on the scene, from officials of involved organizations, and from groups that summarize information on incidents reported in the news media. The word casualties, in its most general sense, includes the injured as well as the dead. Accounts of the number of coalition wounded vary widely, partly because it is not obvious what should be counted. Should only those injuries serious enough to put a soldier out of commission be included? Do illnesses or injuries caused by accidents count, or should the focus be restricted to wounds caused by hostile engagement? Sources using different definitions may arrive at very different numbers, and sometimes the precise definition is not clearly specified. Tables. The tables below summarize reports on Iraqi casualty figures. Scientific surveys. Body counts. Overview. Iraqi death estimates by source. Summary of casualties of the Iraq War. Possible estimates on the number of people killed in the invasion and occupation of Iraq vary widely, and are highly disputed. Estimates of casualties below include both the 2003 invasion of Iraq and the following post-invasion Iraq, 2003 present. Overview. Death estimates by group. Overview. Iraqi injury estimates by source. Additional statistics for the Iraq War. Overview of casualties by type. Dead Iraqis. Deadliest single insurgent bombings. August 14, 2007. Truck bombs 2007. Yazidi communities bombings. 796 killed. Other deadly days. November 23, 2006, and April 18, 2007. 4 bombings in Baghdad kill at least 183. Nationwide, the number of people killed or found dead on Wednesday, April 18, 2007, was 233, which was the second deadliest day in Iraq since Associated Press began keeping records in May 2005. 5 car bombings, mortar rounds and other attacks killed 281 people across Iraq on November 23, 2006, according to the app count. Wounded in action as of January 12, 2007, 500 U.S. troops have undergone amputations due to the Iraq War. Toes and fingers are not counted. As of September 30, 2006, 725 American troops have had limbs amputated from wounds received in Iraq and Afghanistan. A 2006 study by the Walter Reed Medical Center, which serves more critically injured soldiers than most VA hospitals, concluded that 62% of patients there had suffered a brain injury. In March 2003, U.S. military personnel were wounded in action at a rate averaging about 350 per month. As of September 2007, this rate has increased to about 675 per month. Injured, fallen ill U.S. military. Number unknown. An October 18, 2005, USA Today article reports, more than 1 in 4 U.S. troops have come home from the Iraq War with health problems that require medical or mental health treatment. According to the Pentagon's first detailed screening of service members leaving a war zone, Iraqi combatants. Number unknown. Refugees as of November 4, 2006. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees estimated that 1.8 million Iraqis had been displaced to neighboring countries, and 1.6 million were displaced internally, with nearly 100,000 Iraqis fleeing to Syria and Jordan each month. Iraqi invasion casualties. In March 2002, before the Iraq War, at a news conference at Bagram Air Base, Afghanistan, U.S., General Tommy Franks had said, "We don't do body counts." Franks reportedly estimated soon after the invasion that there had been 30,000 Iraqi casualties as of April 9, 2003. That number comes from the transcript of an October 2003 interview of U.S. Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld with journalist Bob Woodward. They were discussing a number reported by The Washington Post, but neither could remember the number clearly, nor whether it was just for deaths, or both deaths and wounded. A May 28, 2003, Guardian article reported, extrapolating from the death rates of between 3% and 10% found in the units around Baghdad, one reaches a toll of between 13,500 and 45,000 dead among troops and paramilitaries. An October 20, 2003, study by the Project on Defense Alternatives at Commonwealth Institute in Cambridge, Massachusetts, stated that for March 19, 2003, to April 30, 2003, based on the analysis that follows, we estimate that the 2003 Iraq War produced between 7,600 and 10,800 Iraqi combatant fatalities. The study also stated, "Our analysis of the evidence leads to the conclusion that between 10,800 and 15,100 Iraqis were killed in the war. Of these, between 3,200 and 4,300 were non-combatants, that is, civilians who did not take up arms." The study explained that to arrive at these numbers, they had adjusted the underlying incident reports from the field by reducing each count by anywhere from 20% to 60%, based on their own reliability assessments. In order to control for casualty inflation, a prevalent form of bias, the study author Carl Conetta reported, all told, more than 40,000 Iraqis were killed or injured. The Iraq Body Count Project documented a higher number of civilian deaths up to the end of the major combat phase. In a 2005 report, using updated information, the IBC reported that 7,299 civilians are documented to have been killed, primarily by U.S. air and ground forces. There were 17,338 civilian injuries inflicted up to May 1, 2003. The IBC says its figures are probably underestimates because many deaths will probably go unreported or unrecorded by officials and media. Iraqi civilian casualties. Estimates of Iraqi civilian casualties are highly disputed, and few sources have attempted to measure civilian casualties in Iraq. Various estimates are discussed below, and elsewhere in this article. See also the section on total Iraqi casualties. Iraq Body Count Project, an independent UK-US group. The IBC project compiles reported Iraqi civilian deaths resulting from the invasion and occupation, including those caused directly by coalition military action, the Iraqi insurgency, and those resulting from excess crime. The IBC maintains that the occupying authority has a responsibility to prevent these deaths under international law. The Iraq Body Count Project, incorporating subsequent reports, has reported that by the end of the major combat phase, up to April 30, 2003, 7,419 civilians had been killed, primarily by U.S. air and ground forces. It shows a total range of at least 110,591 to 120,816 civilian deaths in the whole conflict as of December 12, 2012. This total represents civilian deaths due to war-related violence that have been reported by media organizations, non-governmental organization-based reports, and official records. The IBC project has been criticized by some who believe it counts only a small percentage of the number of actual deaths because of its reliance on media sources. The IBC project's director, John Sloboda, has stated, "We've always said our work is an undercount. You can't possibly expect that a media-based analysis will get all the deaths." However, the IBC project rejects many of these criticisms as exaggerated or misinformed. Following other yearly IBC project civilian death totals broken down by month from the beginning of 2003 until the U.S. pullout in December 2011. Concerning the yearly totals, IBC project states, all figures are taken from the maximum confirmed deaths in the IBC database. However, IBC's rates and counts will rise over the coming months, as data is still being added to the IBC database for 2006 and other periods covered here. The IBC project released a report detailing the deaths it recorded between March 2003 and March 2005, in which it recorded 24,865 civilian deaths. The report says the U.S. and its allies were responsible for the largest share of the 24,865 deaths. The remaining deaths were attributed to anti-occupation forces, crime and unknown agents. It also lists the primary sources used by the media: mortuaries, medics, Iraqi officials, eyewitnesses, police, relatives, U.S. coalition, journalists, non-governmental organizations, friends, associates and other. People's Kiefer, an Iraqi political party called the People's Kiefer, or Struggle Against Hegemony, reported the findings of what the spokesperson described as a survey conducted between March and June 2003 throughout the non-Kurdish areas of Iraq. The group reportedly tallied 36,533 civilians killed in those areas by June 2003. These figures were first published in August 2003 on the website of Jude Wanniski, the retired reporter for The Wall Street Journal. While detailed town-by-town totals are given by the PK spokesperson, details of methodology are very thin and raw data is not in the public domain. A still less detailed report on this study appeared some months later on Al Jazeera's website. The Al Jazeera report claims the study covered up to October 2003, but this cannot be accurate, as exactly the same figures were already published on the Wanniski website in August 2003. No further information on this alleged survey has materialized since. The spokesperson in August 2003 said that there was no way to communicate the figures from Baghdad. Orphans. In December 2007, a member of Iraq's anti-corruption board is reported to have said there were 5 million orphans in Iraq, almost half of the country's children. In March 2012, the Baghdad Provincial Council estimated the overall number of orphans across Iraq to be no more than 400,000, while a UN report from 2008 estimated the number to be around 870,000. A large-scale survey of Iraqi households by UNICEF, published in 2012, estimated that between 800,000 and 1 million Iraqi children under 18, or about 5% of Iraqi children, have lost one or both of their parents. Iraqi refugees crisis. As of November 4, 2006, the UN High Commissioner for Refugees estimated that 1.8 million Iraqis had been displaced to neighboring countries, and 1.6 million were displaced internally, with nearly 100,000 Iraqis fleeing to Syria and Jordan each month. As of 2007, more Iraqis had lost their homes and become refugees than the population of any other country. Over 3.9 million people, close to 16% of the Iraqi population, have become uprooted. Of these, around 2 million have fled Iraq and flooded other countries, and 1.9 million are estimated to be refugees inside Iraq. Roughly 40% of Iraq's middle class is believed to have fled, the UN said. Most are fleeing systematic persecution and have no desire to return. All kinds of people, from university professors to bakers, have been targeted by militias, Iraqi insurgents and criminals. An estimated 331 school teachers were slain in the first 4 months of 2006, according to Human Rights Watch. And at least 2,000 Iraqi doctors have been killed and 250 kidnapped since the 2003 U.S. invasion. Project Censored cites the large number of Iraqi refugees as additional support of their argument that the number of Iraqi casualties is much larger than generally addressed in the mainstream media. A May 25, 2007, article in the Seattle Post-Intelligencer noted that in the past 7 months only 69 people from Iraq had been granted refugee status in the U.S. as a result of growing international pressure. On June 1, 2007, the Bush administration said it was ready to admit 7,000 Iraqi refugees who had helped the coalition since the invasion. According to Washington, D.C.-based Refugees International, the U.S. has admitted fewer than 800 Iraqi refugees since the invasion. Sweden had accepted 18,000, and Australia had resettled almost 6,000 non-Iraqi civilian casualties. Many non-combatants from both coalition and non-coalition countries have also been killed or wounded, including journalists and international aid personnel and foreign civilians. See the main overview chart at the top for numbers and more information.